Hey everybody, welcome on in to Sports Live in the 215. I'm your host, Connor Okuda, and today we will preview the Eagles matchup with the Rams on Sunday at 3 o'clock at Lincoln Financial Field. I I think this game's gonna be a pretty good matchup. I think Saquon Barkley will most likely have his way with that Rams defense. Although they could obviously stack the box to take away who I believe has been the best running back in the NFL this season, and he's he he is there's a reason he's a leading candidate for um the MVP vote or the MVP award is because of just how dominant he was, and even when the Rams had 10 defenders in the box, he was still able to have, I want to say it was a 70 or 72-yard run. As always, you guys can correct me in the comments, but he was just absolutely dominant, and I would expect maybe more of the same. And I I feel like I I feel like because the Rams are gonna try to stack the box, maybe AJ and Devontae will, will probably have a big game, um, a, a big game because of that. They'll 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 take advantage of more opportunities in the passing game, and I don't think Jalen will pass for 131 yards. I think he could have a big day through the air. I would say maybe anywhere from 225 to 250. Like I can see him having a pretty big day. Because the Rams will not want a repeat performance of that week. What was it? 12 matchup when Saquon ran all over them to the tune of 255 on, I believe it was only 19 carries. So yeah, he was absolutely dominant that day. I think um I think he was absolutely dominant. Sorry about that. I just received some news that I'll touch on my Flyers Islanders recap later today, so be on the lookout for that. Um, yeah. Anyway, he I don't I don't I don't expect the Rams to give up 255 yards to Saquon. I think it'll be a much quieter day on the ground. Well, maybe not much quieter, but a quieter day on the ground. And I would I would assume that the passing game the the passing game could have a big day. Um, we'll see what happens on that front. Um, we'll see how we'll also see how the Eagles linebacker situation will shake out, because they're obviously gonna miss Nakobe Dean for the remainder of the playoffs due to that torn patella tendon that he suffered last week in the win over the Green Bay Packers, which is unfortunate, but I believe I believe Jeremiah Trotter and um, Oren Burks will do their part to kind of pick up the slack. Um, one guy I wonder if he'll play not because he's injured, but because of lack of productivity this season is due to is Bryce Huff, which I know I'll probably still catch heat for saying that would be that could be the Eagles' best signing in the offseason, but um, I don't um, I don't shy away from that. I'll definitely eat crow. Their best signing has certainly been Saquon Barkley by a country mile, and he's been as advertised, maybe even more. I actually remember when the Eagles first signed him. I actually thought, or I actually put a poll out on the Sports Live and the 215 Twitter asking um, if his salary is too much for a running back who has not stayed healthy throughout his career, and overwhelmingly the majority on that poll, I believe, said no. So um, you guys were you guys were right about that. That's why um, that's just shows the knowledge of this fan base, and credit to you, and I'm certainly glad I was proven wrong. Well, maybe not about the Bryce Huff thing, but the Saquon thing certainly. Like I'll wear that like a badge of honor for sure. And I think Saquon has been everything the Eagles could have hoped for and more. I mean, he's just been a revelation. Um, I don't think I've ever seen a running back be just as dominant in my life. And I saw LaShawn McCoy play in his prime. Um, so that's certainly saying something. And Shady's the all-time leading rusher, and I wouldn't be surprised if Saquon is able to make a run at that um in his remaining 2 years here. Now that might sound like a long shot, but um I want to say Shady's total yards is like seven 7,000 and like 7,000 as an Eagle. Might be a little more than that. And if not, you guys can of course correct me in the comments. But like I think Saquon, if he continues to perform the way he did this year, I know running backs tend to maybe age less gracefully than some other positions in the NFL, but um, I I think he has an outside shot to break that record, uh, to break Shady's all-time leading rushing mark for sure. Um, I think he'll continue to be the that kind of like do everything running back the Eagles have really needed for a long time, and really they've needed it since LaShawn left, or since Shady left. Um, they've needed a guy to kind of carry the load for them offensively. I know Deshaun obviously had or LaShawn obviously had Deshaun and Jeremy Maclin, Brent Selleck, of course, who's my favorite player Michael Vick and Nick Foles throwing him the football and things like that. But I feel like as far as a or as far as from a rushing attack standpoint, I feel like Shady was kind of the one carrying the load. Um, so I feel like Saquon can have a similar type of impact um, for this Eagles team. But we'll we'll uh, we'll see how he's able to fare against the Rams, who will will most likely be stacking the box against him. Um, one thing I wanted to touch on is there was a Rams defensive lineman, one of their first or second year players that was like, I I hate Eagles fans, they're so annoying, and the guy hadn't even played here yet. So a word of advice to, I believe his name was like his name was something, was it like Javion Curse or something? Um, like don't give this fan base any bulletin board material, buddy. Like that's just not smart. If you think we're annoying, just wait till Sunday, because it's gonna get loud, and it's not certainly not gonna be fun for him. I I think that I just think um this Eagles offense will look to make a statement early and often against the Rams, because uh, they didn't have their best game last week, and I would certainly look for them to correct the mistakes of that performance. Now, one thing I did want to touch on is Kellen Moore taking some heat for taking interviews while the Eagles are in the middle of preparing for a playoff game. Um, while I think the NFL should make um, coaching candidates that are playoff team, or that are a part of playoff teams, wait until the end of the season, I also know that that's kind of just the nature of the business, and that there's nothing we can really do about it. I think that the Eagles will go out and handle their business, and I feel like all that outside stuff will kind of take care of itself. I think while I do see those things kind of as distractions, I don't think it will um, inhibit Kellen's ability to um, call plays or construct the game plan. So I of course I hope he does stay here at the end of all this, so Jalen can have consistency for at least a couple seasons. But as long as the Eagles continue to be good, your your coordinators as well as your assistant coaches will continue to be in high demand. Um, so that's just the nature of the business. I I see one guy who will be really who I believe will be a a dark horse candidate for a defensive coordinator job is I believe he's see the linebackers coach, Christian Parker. Yeah, he's done a done a fantastic job with the linebackers. Um, with the Eagles linebackers, he's got Zach Bond and well before he got hurt, Nakobe Dean playing it just all pro and playing it like all pro or like Pro Bowl levels. They were both just absolutely fantastic this year, and hopefully hopefully Nick can keep his coaching staff intact. We know we're going to be able to keep one coordinator, luckily, as the Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio has said that this will be his final NFL coaching job because he's originally from Philadelphia. So it's kind of cool that his first job in professional football was with the Philadelphia Stars back in the 80s, and his last job is with the Eagles. His last job is with the Eagles in 2020, 2024, 2025. So that's kind of a really cool full circle moment, and hopefully, I know this won't be for at least a few years. Um, but hopefully we can send Vic out with a Super Bowl ring because he more than deserves it. He's been one of the best coordinators in the NFL for a long time, at least 15, 20 years. He's been routinely known as one of the best in the game, and rightfully so. And hopefully the Eagles can send send him out in the right way, and we, and he I know Eagles fans everywhere are hoping they're able to do that. And with that being said, as always, go Birds.